Okay, in this video we're going to go through some of the settings. Now the first thing you may or may not have noticed is that I'm using Firefox. Now with the new Windows 10 you get a new browser called Microsoft Edge. And this is your default browser. So let's just bring this up. Now Microsoft Edge is actually a really nice browser. It's a huge upgrade from Internet Explorer. So you will enjoy it if you were using Internet Explorer. It has a lot more features, and I will go through all of the features later on in a different video. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how you can set default apps. So I'm going to open Firefox now. So Mozilla. And I'm going to pin this to my start menu here, or to the taskbar actually, so that I can find it more easily. So Mozilla Firefox, I'm going to right click on it and pin to the taskbar. Okay, so here it is down here. Let's click out here. Now I can open it up now. Okay, now it's asking me if I want it to be my default browser. Now it's a little different the way you set your default anything right now. So let's just say I want this is my default browser. And what it's going to do is bring up your settings for your defaults. Okay, so it's under System and Defaults, as you see down here. And they're all in here. So you can come in here at any time and change them. But what I want to do is go to Web Browser. And even though I told it to use Firefox, it is still set up Microsoft Edge. So if you click on here, it will bring up your different choices over here. And I'll pick it. And I have now set my default. Okay, so that's the first thing I wanted to show you, so you could get your default browser set if you don't want to use Microsoft Edge. Now the next thing is settings. Now there's two ways to get into settings, and you've already seen over here on the right that we can get into it from here, and we can go to all settings. You can also get into it by going to the Start button and going to Settings here. It takes you to the same spot. Okay, and then you have your system, devices, network, personalization, accounts, time and language, ease of access, privacy, and update and security. Now while we're talking about settings, I want to show you something else. If you go over to your Start menu and you right click on it, then you get a lot of other commands that you've seen before. Okay, this is just a way to get to the direct commands in Windows and your control panel and so on without having to go through this way. Now the control panel is something that is not within the rest of it. You're supposed to use the Windows settings that you're seeing on the menu in front of you, but if you want to go to the control panel, you can get to it from there, and you can adjust your computer settings from here. So that's how you can get to the control panel, and a few of these do point partially back to the control panel. Okay, so having said that, let's go into settings, and we have notifications and actions. And the first thing we come to is our displays, so you can change your multiple displays here. Notifications and actions. Okay, so you can change your notifications here. Show me tips about Windows. You might want to turn those off after a while if you know what you're doing. App notifications. Notifications on the lock screen. Show alarm reminders. And then show notifications while presenting. And you'll see down here, these are individual apps that are going to show us notifications, so you can turn any of these off at any time. Okay, so let's go back up here. I don't really want to show you anything else in there. A lot of them are pretty self-explanatory. But the next thing I want to show you is privacy. And this is where you're going to want to pay some attention. Now, there are several things that Microsoft is keeping track of that you can turn off if you want. So send Microsoft info about the way I write to help improve typing and writing in the future. We have let websites provide locally relevant content by accessing my location. So I'm going to turn this one off, but you can decide what you want to do there. Now, your location is simply that the apps can know your location, and maybe you do and maybe you don't want some apps to know. So if we look down here, you can choose apps that can use your location. So for instance, you may want, well, you probably would want any weather apps to know your location. Okay, and then and so on down here. So you can set whichever apps you want to use your location. Okay, then your camera. If you want to let apps use your camera, and then it'll show you down here which apps are using your camera. Okay, so if you don't want some apps using your camera, you can turn them off right here. Same with your microphone. Again, it'll show you which apps are allowed to use your microphone down here. Okay, speech, inking, and typing. You'll see here that Microsoft is getting to know you. So it's keeping track of things for Cortana, which we haven't gotten to yet. Now, if you're going to use Cortana, you're going to want to leave this on. Otherwise, you're going to want to turn it off. And I'm going to talk about Cortana right after this. Now, see down here, there's cloud info. So Bing can keep track of your information for all of your devices. So if you have a Windows Phone or something like that, then you can go in here and you can change your settings there. Okay, your account info. So let apps access my name, picture, and other account info. And then again, you can choose the apps that you're going to allow to do that down here. Your contacts. Okay, so these are the apps that are allowed to access your contacts. So you see that there is a lot of customization you can do to prevent apps from getting your information. Okay, and then your calendar. So you can let apps access your calendar, and then again it tells you which ones, and you can turn them on and off as you like. Messaging. Okay, so everybody can send text or MMS. Radios. So your apps controlling your radios. Other devices. And then it does just what it says. It lets your apps automatically share and sync information from devices that aren't particularly paired to the particular device that you're on. Okay, and then next we have feedback. So this is the settings for the amount of feedback that is sent down to Microsoft. And then our background apps. This shows you the apps that are running in the background. And if you see some in here that you don't want running, you can just turn them off like that. Okay, so that's some of the privacy settings. Now, let's go into network and internet. And then roll down here, and you want to manage Wi-Fi settings. And you get something in here called Manage Wi-Fi Sense. And what this is going to do, if you don't change it, is allow your contacts to be able to access your network. So you're likely going to want to turn off all of these here so that it won't share your connection with your contacts. Okay, so by setting all of those things, it will make you a little bit safer on the internet. Just watch what you share. Now you can set them the way you want, but the less you share, the less chance you have of having something bad happen to you. Now another thing I want to go over with is updates. So let's go into updates and security and Windows Update. Now what we want to do here is go to Advanced Options, and you want to notify to schedule a restart. The reason we're going to do this is so that you can choose when the updates are going to be installed rather than get interrupted by having updates installed automatically. You cannot stop updates from happening in Windows 10 like you could in other versions of Windows. Okay, so I've already done this, but you can come in here and you can just click on here and you can have automatic or notify. And I always pick notify, and it'll just tell you when it needs to install updates. And the next time you restart it, it will update, or it'll do it at some time when it knows you're not using the computer. It'll tell you what that is. For me, it's 3:10 a.m. Okay, so that's a good thing to do there, is to take control of your updates. Windows Defender is the built-in antivirus and anti-spyware protection. Now I have this enabled, but it's on another account on this computer, so I'm not able to actually do anything with it in this account, but these are all turned on, as you can see. They're just grayed out here. So this all looks after itself automatically. You can click here to use Windows Defender and it'll bring up the window. And it's telling us that it's being used. We can scan it manually. We can look at the updates here and the history. Okay, so again, you have built-in protection against viruses and spyware. Okay, and then you have backup. Now, backup allows you to back up your system in a different way. So you can back up files to another drive and restore them if the original are lost or damaged. So you can add a drive here. You can also go to more options here. And this is where you could restore files from a current backup. And then we have some advanced settings here. And this is going to take you to the control panel. And this is where you can turn file history on. This is a way that Windows can keep track of your file history and install file history from another drive. Okay, so let's go back. Okay, and then we have recovery. Now, you can reset the PC. What this will do is it will reset the computer to factory, and you can either keep the files that you have on here or remove them and reinstall everything. So be careful with that. You can go back to a previous version of Windows if you upgraded from another version, and I upgraded from 8.1, as you can see here. So I could go back to that if I wanted to, and you only see this for 30 days. Now I'm going to show you how to delete the old Windows system because it's still sitting on here taking up about 10 gig of space. I'm going to show you that in a little while. Then you have advanced startup. If you click on this, it restarts your system and brings up a startup menu where it'll let you either recover from a restore point, from a backup drive, from a backup partition, and some other thing. So that's another way you can recover if you have a problem. There are the settings we want to set for privacy and protection. Okay, so we're going to continue with some more settings in the next video.